This station is designed to test a candidate's ability to provide spinal immobilization by using a half-spine immobilization device. A second rescuer will assist with this station. Candidates have 10 minutes to complete the station.
A key to managing a patient with a possible spinal injury who is found in a seated position is to maintain the head in a neutral position and avoid any excessive movement while applying the cervical collar and device. When providing care, remember the adage, do no more harm. Immobilization needs to be done in a timely and effective manner, but be careful not to manipulate the injured area.
Candidates at station will have the equipment necessary to successfully immobilize a seated patient with a possible spinal injury. This equipment includes a cervical collar, half-spine immobilization device, and medical exam gloves as part of the necessary personal protective equipment. There are 5 main sections of this station: neutral alignment and manual stabilization of the head, assessment of motor, sensory, and distal circulatory functions, application of the correct size cervical collar, application of the spinal immobilization device, reassessment of motor, sensory, and distal circulatory functions.
This is the spinal immobilization station for a seated patient. You've had a chance to check your equipment. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, you can begin now.
We're going to start with taking body substance isolation, BSI. Will you hold his neck, his head in inline neutral position for me, please? I want you to maintain this stabilization right where you have it. I'm going to check for pulses. Equal. Can you feel me touching you? Yes. Wiggle your fingers. Wiggle your fingers. Thank you. Go feel for pulses. Equal. Want you to wiggle your toes. Good. Lift up. Good. We're going to lean him forward on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. Tighten them, take a deep breath. Going to measure for some padding. Check in the pulse. Can you feel me touching you?
Yes.
Check for pulse. Can you move your toes? Good. Can you feel me touching you?
Yes.
Good. Okay. At this point, we'll go ahead and move him to a long board and reassess his pulse, motor, and sensory.
Okay, is there anything else you'd like to do?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Begin the station by indicating that the proper personal protective equipment is being used. Direct the application of manual stabilization of the patient's head. Assess motor, sensory, and distal circulatory function in the extremities. Apply an appropriately sized cervical collar to the patient. Position the device behind the patient. Secure the device to the patient's torso. Pad behind the patient's head as needed to maintain neutral alignment. Secure the patient's head to the device. Reassess motor, sensory, and distal circulatory function. Verbalize moving the patient to a long board and reassessing the patient once more. The examiner checks the candidate's performance against the critical criteria for the station. There are numerous critical criteria for this station that would have resulted in failure. Failing to immediately stabilize or direct stabilization of the patient's head. Releasing manual head stabilization before the patient is secured to the device. Movement that could cause potential spinal compromise. This could result from rough handling during placement and securing of the device. Failing to properly maintain head stabilization when applying the cervical collar, resulting in excessive movement or failure to maintain the head in a neutral position. Failing to have the device positioned properly on the patient in order to minimize movement. Torso immobilization inhibits chest rise, resulting in respiratory compromise. Immobilizing the head before the torso. Head is not in a neutral inline position upon completion of the immobilization. Failing to reassess motor, sensory, and distal circulatory function.
Direct your partner throughout each step. Maintain manual head immobilization in a neutral position throughout the skill. Make certain the cervical collar fits properly to ensure neutral alignment, and secure the device without excessive manipulation of the patient.